confirmed the midfielder's exit early next week. The 32-year-old was in talks over extending his career at the Emirates Stadium, but an agreement could not be reached on the terms of a deal. Although the likely outcome became clear in recent weeks, a final call has now been made. In April, The Athletic reported that Partey and Arsenal were in talks over renewal. He has been free to speak to overseas teams since January, of course, with his contract running out. You know what? That is something. Clearly, it was a thing where Thomas Partey needs to show his fitness and we'll engage in discussions. Now, rightly or wrongly, Thomas Partey wants to get paid. Arsenal don't necessarily think you're worth it. And we've shown with Zubimendi probably going to be the upgrade potentially, or what's reported on him. And you maybe, Nordgaard is the Jorginho replacement. I know a lot of people are directly saying Nordgaard is replacing Partey. And I wonder what it would have looked like had Thomas Partey stayed at the Emirates next season, because I do think naturally Zubimendi would start, but as good as I think Zubimendi is going to be for Arsenal Football Club, what God-given right is that necessarily? Whether we like Partey or not, he's a player that's probably been one of our best players in terms, or more consistent players last season. And he's a key part and central part to Mikel Arteta's system. Who is to say, even though I do believe Zubimendi is a player they've chased for ages, we've seen what he did for Spain, we see what he's doing. I think, Rice and him, and maybe something different would have happened to Partey had we have got Zubimendi when we were supposed to get him. But yeah, I think it probably would have been Rice, Odegaard, and Zubimendi. But you can't. There's no God-given right. Yeah, you could have stayed with Partey, which for the last 3 years we've been finishing second. And you know what, Thomas Partey, you've done well with Rice, you've done well with Granit Xhaka. You need to move on, really and truly. I understand him wanting more money. I understand Arsenal's reluctance to not giving him more money. From his point of view, you're on the same deal since you signed for this football club. If you really are a key player and you've played every bit of football that's been available this season, and you stunk up the place in the second leg against PSG, but everyone was kind of nervous going into that game, and Arteta plays you to the point where you play right back sometimes, you're within your rights. Even the season before the one that's just gone, injury hit from him. As soon as the running came in, Partey was playing. Had Partey have stayed fit and showed us on a consistent basis the Thomas Partey that we thought we was getting, then of course people, I think he gets a new deal sooner. It's like, I know it's very different, but Lewis Skelly just signed a 5-year deal, right? If Lewis Skelly continues his trajectory, logic would tell you within that 5-year period, even before that, he's going to get improved terms. It's because of Partey's fitness. And had he not have been injured, we'd be looking at this differently. Let's be honest, Partey feels like he's a player that everybody knows how key he's been for our football club, but they've been open to letting him leave for a while. Like the Saudi interest has been something. For Arsenal as well, final point from Partey's kind of point of view is, I'm a key player. You want stability. You've let Jorginho go. You let experience go out the door. And even if you bring an experienced man in like Nordgaard, I'm better than him, really. For Arsenal, I guess they had to weigh up the cost. Is keeping Partey on those wages, maybe even upgrading on those kind of potential wages, is that cheaper than buying someone like for like quality? Because you can't really say, maybe Zubimendi would have been the replacement, but we're led to believe this Zubimendi deal has been tied up since January and we've chased him way before that. So I don't think it's necessarily that. Surely the plan was Partey would stay for a year or two. We might even bring in another midfielder and with Zubimendi. I mean, I'm spending too long on this, if I'm honest with you. So I understand it. Just make sure midfield is ticking next season, because that's my one fear. I think Zubimendi would be good across all phases for us, but he needs to adapt. It's a new league. It's a new partnership with Rice. Big up Nordgaard. You are experienced. I don't think anyone's expecting fireworks, and you could plug a gap. You help us with the experience factor as well, but that's quite a drop off. And I ask the simple question, whatever you have to say about Thomas, because I know outfield stuff as well, people, which many people are happy to see the back of him. You got Zubimendi and Partey on one hand, and then you got Nordgaard and Zubimendi. Which one is the better pivot at this moment in time? Now, in hindsight, obviously, we hope that it's going to be Nordgaard and Partey. In an ideal world, you're probably bringing another midfielder, but in terms of all the things we've got to do, I can't see that. So I personally feel we went into this season, Partey, show us your fitness, and we'll engage in dialogue about giving you a new deal, which is how we all saw it play out, right? But it is what it is in that regards. And it's a shame that you've only had 2 years of prolonged fitness, I feel, with Thomas Partey being fit. You look in 2022-23 when it's him and Xhaka, and the year just gone. It's a shame, man. But yeah, we all know we're reinforcing the midfield area. Zubimendi and Nordgaard are expected to become Arsenal players. So yeah, Thomas Partey's gone. I mentioned Zubimendi. Apparently he's travelled to London to finalise, everything around Arsenal. Admittedly, we've heard that a few times, but it is what it is, man. We can move on from Thomas. I mean, where you look at the Gyökeres and the Sesco stuff and the roundabout of rumors, that, you know, if they're not making any progress with Sesco, if they're not making any progress with Gyökeres, naturally Arsenal would think, or someone would think, maybe we need to pivot, in which the Watkins is something. But we've been linked to Hugo Ekitike once again. Blind is reporting this. Arsenal are now considering Hugo Ekitike, and Andrea Berta doesn't want to spend 100 million on a striker. Whether he's worth it or not, you're seeing the fees Gyökeres is going for. You're seeing the clubs and the money people are prepared to pay for Sesco. If you're Eintracht Frankfurt, you want to get as close to, like all of these clubs, if they can, you want to get as much money as possible. The striker market is dead. If you've got a striker that is wanted by someone, there you have it, people. And on the Partey thing as well, let's be brutally honest, Thomas. The things Arsenal, I don't think we've been proactive. I think Partey needed replacing a long time ago, in the sense of, you could say Zubimendi's the replacement if Partey was to stay. And if you do your thing, you're going to play, you're going to do what needed to be done, but you can gradually phase him out. I go back to the year we bought Declan Rice. I keep saying this. There was a running joke on my YouTube channel that I'm always crying about bringing in central midfielders. That summer, I wanted two players. I like Lavia, but that's neither here nor there. I'm just mentioning his name because I wanted Lavia and Rice. Now, unbeknownst to me, in hindsight, the plan was clearly Kai Havertz in midfield, Declan Rice is there, Partey's there, never banged, yada, yada, yada. I don't believe the Hugo Ekitike rumours, if I'm honest. He's going to cost a premium. Seems like we're on Sesco and Gyökeres more. I do like him, if I'm honest with you, especially if it came down to either just Sesco or Hugo Ekitike. He's apparently a serious option for Arsenal. Voices are saying if Arsenal can't significantly negotiate a price for Viktor Gyökeres, smash the like button. We are live. I saw a comment. Or Benjamin Sesco, a higher fee would be required for a new striker anyways. Hugo Ekitike would become a real attraction. Again, Romano, who does milk the articles, following Sporting President's quotes, Viktor Gyökeres has no intention to come back and play again. At some point, you're going to have to go back for training, depending on where this goes, because at some point you're going to need, it's in your best interest to stay fit. I know you can hire whoever you want to hire, but we've seen this before. Clearly, I imagine Sporting and Gyökeres, what both parties thought was going to be an agreement is one thing, but they probably both sides wanted this to be a clean exit. It's gearing up to be something else. We've seen the agent talking, people connected to president talking. We haven't seen Gyökeres talking, but he's been doing a lot on social media. Apparently, he's already informed the club about it. Sweden striker insists on Pat made last year over some exit, now feeling betrayed and tired. You're within your rights, but a promise is a comfort to a fool, and anyone can promise anything when they're happy, and you've got to get I's dotted and T's crossed. Unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, friendship and people's word, it's got no place in business. What is in cold-hearted writing, in theory, without all the other speculations and whatnot, and we know he's probably not going to go for his release clause. On paper, it is, and it's not as simple as this, but on paper, it's as simple as, if people pay your release clause, you get your move. If not, it is what it is. And I don't blame, it's nasty, but I don't blame Sporting for wanting peace. Apparently, they don't need to sell Gyökeres. Fortunately, this is what the Sporting director said. We're past the stage of selling our main asset, but we're still sensitive to the dreams of Gyökeres or any other player. That's telling you indirectly the player can go at a certain price. Respectfully to Sporting Lisbon, there's only a couple of clubs that are not selling clubs, Real Madrid, etc. I'm not saying everyone's doing the Brentford or Brighton thing, but naturally, come on, Benfica, you lot, Porto, players come in, they're lit, they go elsewhere. That's just talking with a bit of chest to me and trying to save a bit of face. The money makes sense. It makes sense. I do think Arsenal, Man United, and a lot of these clubs that are linked with Gyökeres, it feels like the players' willingness to sign for whatever club, but Sporting are dragging their heels. And at some point, people got to move on, whatever club that is. Sporting has a compromise in which, after weeks of meetings, it's not asking for the value of the clause. It's going to be reasonable. So, to be honest, we've heard that for a minute. Apparently, there was an agreement between Arsenal and Gyökeres that a fee of 60 million euros would be enough for a deal to take place. However, Sporting are still sticking to their 80 million euros valuation. Arsenal are not willing to pay that amount, says a Jogo, if you believe that. In recent weeks, we've been keeping a close eye on things. I saw a player called Zubimendi, mind games, because he mentioned 2 players that have gone to Arsenal, Man United, both linked to the Swedish striker. Zubimendi, who is 6 months younger than Gyökeres, leave for 65 million euros. I saw Cunha go to Manchester United for 75 million euros. We're talking about 26-year-old players. I believe Gyökeres can leave unless he has the worst agent in the world, which I don't believe. He's one of the best in the world. So what's that? We want to get paid. We're not going to charge the most, but we want to get paid amicably. Your client, we rate him. We see the other things going around. Get your guy done. And unless your agent's rubbish, wait, So it's turned ugly, and it's turned very ugly. And to be fair, there's probably an element of, you'd imagine, when Coventry sold him, or better yet, when Sporting bought him from Coventry, if Coventry were doing their due diligence, I'm not saying they could have predicted Gyökeres to be in these kind of conversations, but you would have put your 5, 10, 20, 25% sell-on clause, which obviously has ramifications. Apparently, he's had for what it's worth, Gyökeres, apparently he's had a change of heart over joining Arsenal this summer, with Man United now in pole position to sign the striker. The striker is expected to leave Porto this summer and is at the center of a transfer tug of war between two Premier League giants. It was reported earlier in June that Gyökeres had officially rejected Man United and a reunion with Amorim following Arsenal making their interest clear. Record, whose publication in Portugal, have claimed United have been made aware of Gyökeres' decision to snub a move to Old Trafford after talks with the player's agent. He's also very aggressively linked with Juventus. He's said to have told friends and family that he'll sign for Arsenal this summer, despite the Gunners being in talks with both Sporting and RB Leipzig's Benjamin Sesco over summer deals before making a decision on one. Apparently, Standard Sport understands Sporting are demanding at least 70 million euros, which equates to 59.6 million to begin negotiations over a fee. And recent reports suggest Arsenal were the clear favourites to sign Gyökeres, despite seeing an opening bid where 47 million pounds, 55 million euros reportedly rejected. Completely off topic, but this week we also saw that Leipzig have budged on the asking price, and it is apparently in the similar region of 59.6 million, 65 odd million for Sesco, give or take. Sesco's got a couple of years, but it's within the same price range. So really, does it come down to the structure when you simply put how much do we owe you at what certain date? Is that going to make sense? I don't know. It seems like a lot of gamesmanship. We're going to get into your comments, but please let me know your thoughts and everything. The Mirror have claimed that United are now back in the frame and seen as by some as the most likely destination for Gyökeres, despite being unable to offer Champions League football. I mean, at some point you're just going to have to go in it, because it's a bit like Zaha when I swear he went. Where Zaha had something and he just cut somewhere. I think he cut to Turkey. It seemed like one of them where I said I'm going to leave. The teams that were on me are not on me now, but I have to go and say face. Tell a lie, not Zaha. Ivan Toney. Fair enough, you got paid in Saudi, but all of the chattings you was doing, you didn't want to go Saudi. You were saying I want to play for Arsenal, I want to play for Real Madrid. Now everything happens for a reason, but it got to the point. I've burnt every bridge at Brentford. I've probably told all the players I'm not going to be back when the season starts. Looking like a clown, they're asking me what's going on. I need to leave to save a bit of face. Apparently, once again, we're wrapping up deals for Christian Nordgaard. We're said to favour Sesco, apparently, who could actually prove the cheaper option, which is what some are saying, people. Apparently, big up African Gooner, who does this kind of stuff, like making sure the articles are all in one place. Real Madrid believe a player will ask to leave soon. Their answer will be bring an appropriate offer from the club and you can leave. Rodrygo's case is the most striking and the first that should be resolved with his starting spot in doubt. Marca is reporting that Real Madrid would believe a player will ask to leave. Their answer once again will be bring an appropriate offer from the club and you can leave. Now, I'm sure if you're going for a player no, it's not really an ideal world because they'd all just sign for us. But if it kind of goes based on reports how we think, the Keppers, the Nordgaards, the Zubimendis, they're through the door. And maybe I'm missing out one of the players. Obviously, we know where we stand with Lewis Skelly and Gabriel. We know where we stand with Partey. You would imagine a striker, be or take Sesco or Gyökeres, those come through the door. They're in for pre-season type of thing. And in an ideal world, you would love Rodrygo or whatever left winger we're linked with to be the same. But because of the moving pieces and the caliber of Real Madrid and the stature Rodrygo has in the game, that is probably one that will drag into the new season / give or take up until September. I wouldn't want that to be the case. So my thing is we need to do everything in terms of incomings and then play the field. Every day that ticks, I guess Rodrygo either is going to be more firm in his decision to stay at Real Madrid, or he becomes more convinced by the day in every training session, in every preseason game, in every tactical drill and training where, managers do things like the players that are going to start, you lot are the ones doing the drills, and then the defenders will be the young G's and whatnot. If Rodrygo's part of that, it could go left for him, but that's going to drag out. And then you'd imagine Bert is just keeping close, just every now and again texting his agent and his close ones, like judging the temperature. And then if they're able to, if the dominoes were to fall in that, he wants to sign for us. Oh, what sort of contract would you like? What sort of wages? Tie up the framework with that. What offer do you lot think Real Madrid will have? Give us your word, as far as that can go, that you actually want to sign for us. Then when we got that conversation and then we deliberate internally, again, I know people don't want to hear it, but Arteta, Berta, all of them lawyers and Kroenke, and then hopefully we said, he's going to cost a lot. Finance are going to be a lot, but let's go and do this. Now, with all this information we've collected, now we begin dialogue with Real Madrid, and the first offer isn't going to be accepted. Again, what's being reported in the world of football and what's actually going on in the world of football are very different things, but that's what the reports are saying, people. Speaking of Brazilian wingers, Martinelli has been discussed by Al Nassr as a potential winger option. Luis Diaz, according to Ben Jacobs, is the top target, so that's not really going anywhere. We're said to be preparing a new bid for Mascara of Valencia. People, our first offer was rejected. Apparently, according to Romano, he's already agreed. That's the guy I'm missing. Personal terms. We've also been linked with signing Adamola Lookman. I must admit, I don't buy that. We have also been linked with Eze this weekend. Bournemouth and Fulham are said to be fighting to sign Reece Nelson. Get your fee, clear the wages, move on. Silliest rumor we've probably seen this summer. We've been linked with Nicholas Jackson. I mentioned Eze. Apparently, this has gone as far as we've called our interest in Rodrygo, which I don't believe that. But at some point, you're gonna have to say, you know, it would have been a dream. Let's get a more tangible target, in which Eze is said to have a 60 million euros, 60 million pounds, apologies, asking price, and it could be paid in installments. But this article is saying there's complications around the required payment structure, meaning it wouldn't be a simple deal. Nothing's easy. And again, I did say it vaguely. Leipzig apparently have lowered their asking price for Benjamin Sesco to 60 million. So give or take, him and Gyökeres are said to be in the same realm. Apparently, people, Premier League clubs are ready to spend big on transfers this week. And apparently a lot of clubs were holding off on deals so that they could put it in the new accounting kind of periods. So that's propaganda. All clubs are getting the luxury. And it is expensive. I'm not here to slag off Chelsea and do all of that kind of stuff, yeah, but and again, it comes down to recruitment and all those kind of things. But they've been linked with João Pedro. I think he's a decent player. I think Gittins is a young player with potential. I actually like Liam Delap. But 145 million for that, it's dark. So this is even more reason as to why we need to get things right, because we are not the club that have the bottomless pits that these lot do. And to be fair, they're probably going to make several sales on academy players and all those kind of things. Shout out DJB, man. Chat getting worried now, bro. Still no striker. We need to start moving people. We defo do. I feel Alonso wants new players for his system. He needs sales to fund these signings. I'm getting that feeling from Madrid content creators. I hear you, and I know every club is feeling the pinch. And as great as Real Madrid are, and they are one of the richest teams, and I'm talking about things above my pay grade, reality is the money that the Premier League clubs make dwarfs all of the others. Obviously, El Clasico is always going to be a big fixture, but there was a time it didn't matter if you supported Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs, Manchester United, Leyton Orient. You was fully immersed in what your team had to do, but you knew when the El Clasicos are. No one don't really care about that. So again, I'm only mentioning that not to be snooty, but there's less viewers. There's less TV packages. So maybe they do need to sell. But I don't know, man. If you're Xabi Alonso, Rodrygo's a good squad player. Like, Rodrygo might want more football and to be like have the same standard as Mbappe and all of them, but he's still a good player to have in the squad. And in terms of all that pressing new game manager stuff that they want, he can do that. He did that for Carlos, so he's not fully poor. There is that factor, and I think it comes down to Rodrygo. But if you're Xabi Alonso, where first thing, the amount of pressure taking that job is crazy. The added pressure of you being Spanish, being a former Madrid player, actually coming with a very big reputation, invincible literally in the Bundesliga with Leverkusen, getting to a European final and things like that. We saw it does look like Real Madrid need one of these. No disrespect to Carlo Ancelotti, did good things, but in the modern day, it's all about micromanaging and less vibes. Not that Carlo isn't a good tactician. I fought his case in that regards, but they need that. It's too much change. It's too much change. Because Rodrygo looks like he'll buy into what he's got a reason to. Every trainer, I'm not saying that you can at Real Madrid, but like Rodrygo has to give it his all in the hope the manager's looking. So unless it's made abundantly clear to Rodrygo, you're not going to get the football you want here, I don't see it happening. Because if you're Xabi Alonso, all Rodrygo needs is a bit of encouragement. That Xabi Alonso wouldn't be the first nor the last manager to lie. You know, yeah, I'm going to play you, man. Trust me, stay patient. The first couple of weeks in the season, it's going to be dark, but you're going to get an opportunity. Sell him that dream. Once the window's shut, what can you do? What can you do? But we Arsenal fans should stop being patient and start demanding. Go ahead, man. Hugo Ekitike, my dream signing, make Arsenal French again. We need to go down that route. Go back to before Arsenal was gentrified, man, and we had like players from all over the world, saucy celebrations, good football. I know the modern day requires it, but I just feel we got too many athletes, if I'm brutally honest. And I know you need to be athletic and run up and down and do all of that kind of stuff, but it feels like we're too athletic based. Like, as much as the game's got like that and the Premier's physical, at the end of the day, it's still around football. Can you pass? Can you shoot? Can you do some 1-2s? Which is, again, this is why I don't think you just get Gyökeres and Rodrygo and you slap them up front with Saka and we're lit. I do think I couldn't tell you what, it's above my pay grade. Definitely not. I don't get 50 mil a year. And if I did, I'd attempt it. But low blocks, got to find a way around that. Teams are going to do that. Got to find a way around that. move the ball a bit quicker, and many other sort of talking points in that regard. Or we're going to keep waffling about the same things time after time after time after time. Hugo, an athlete too, mad dynamic. I like him though, man. It don't feel we're onto him. Sesco, Bacola, Eze revitalize our attack. Revitalize, to be fair, he said revitalize. It does, but Sesco setting us back 60, 70 million. Bacola, it seems PSG are not selling him. If he was available, testing the waters with 45, 50 million, you're probably going to go over that. Eze is 60 odd million quid or safe, innit? And knowing Arsenal, we're not going to run the release clause. We're probably going to commit to paying slightly over that so we can fix up the payments how we need to fix it up. And that's the thing, man. Shout out Stylist, man. Watch us get Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's become a free agent, to be fair. And to be fair, it wouldn't make sense, man. The man can't stay fit, unfortunately. I think these Ikiteke links are way off the mark, to be honest. I think it's Arsenal getting at Leipzig. I just think it's a bit of creative journalism, if I'm honest with you. Goals hype. Who are you talking about? Oh, Gyökeres goals should be taxed. I just witnessed Inter Miami retirement home slap up Porto. Nasty. Big up gun down UK. One love. Big up DG. Why do I feel we are going to end up getting Madueke or Jackson? I hope not, but I can't blame fans because unfortunately that has been the kind of stuff we've been doing. We know what we should have done last summer. We know what we ended up with on deadline day, and we know why we can't repeat that. So I understand it. I'm hopeful we're not. I'm rather bullish with whether the signings work. We'll feel a lot better, but seeing is believing in it. And the striker is the big one. I think most Arsenal fans can see, Norgard, it's not sexy and all of that, but he's not the worst player. We understand now he's going to just be an additional body. Kepa, I don't really rate it, but cool. Second choice keeper. You're signing the new contracts for the Lewis Kellys and Magalhaes when you can. Cool. You know, Zubimendi, we've been linked with him for about 20 years. Cool. That's happening. And again, for me, I'm very bullish about Zubimendi in all phases. I'm not saying he's going to be the best midfielder in the world. I just think he's going to be very good for us. It's the striker though, man. That's what we're waiting for, man. That's what we're waiting for. And I mean, well, to be fair, no one at Arsenal told us, but I'd imagine come Tuesday, if we don't get anything tomorrow, which will be the 30th, we should be hearing a lot of noise because once we had July accounting period, we've been talking for time. And granted, I'm not on the floor in the sense that I'm not speaking to Bert, I'm not speaking to Arteta. I've never been involved in transfers, but let's get a move on, man. People need to have some patience. We'll get our targets over the next few weeks and sales too. Social media is messed up with general levels of patience. Everything is exaggerated on social media. They've got a narrative to push. I'm sure all clubs, why is it taking so long and whatnot? But I do feel there's the extremities on that. But then there is also the element of, yeah, things are going in the background, but there's also why is it taking us so long to address certain areas? Which cool, if you're going to do that, let's get things done. And to be fair, on the topic of patience, I think most Arsenal fans have been patient. For me, I've got no choice but to be patient because I can scream, shout, shake all about. I don't control our transfers. Like I could get as pissed off, throw everything around in this room with you lot. I can't change anything. But you don't need to earn patience again. You need to earn trust because I feel there's a lot of our fan base, that okay, we never wanted Arteta. We never really rated it. We've stumbled, but we've got to second. There was a process to buy into. We've been flirting with it. And I think that many people, bit their tongue and just rid the wave. And I think, we had some stumbles. 2022, 23, we didn't expect that. Even though I feel for the club, we've got into this title challenges, especially the Cronkies, in these kind of conversations a year or two ahead. But fair enough, 2022, 23, no one expected that. We're meant to fall away the following season. Okay, we showed improvement. We took it down to the last day of the season. Still didn't happen, but it is what it is. Then last summer, we're thinking, yes, address the areas. We all saw what was said on deadline day. And again, as I said slightly earlier, we all saw how the summer ended last year and how when it's all said and done, everything panned out in which is second again, no silverware, so close, but so far. So it's now everybody needs to prove it. I'm willing to die on this hill. And I've said it. If I feel sorry for anybody connected to Arsenal Football Club wholeheartedly, I can feel some sympathies. I even feel certain sympathies for Edu because I think he's blamed for everything, but he's clearly not good enough. And I think Arteta can't be blamed. I feel there's too much extremities with Arteta. He's either to be blamed for everything or completely absolved of everything. But for me, if there's anyone that's fully blameless, beyond the obvious with me saying the players, which, come on, they're the ones playing, I feel sorry for the fans and the players. I feel the players stepped up. I feel, quite simply, where we're trying to go, some man are just not good enough. I think we've squeezed as much lemon generally from the lemon juice from the lemon as we can. I think they gave it a fucking good effort. And I think if I was in and around the club in January, like if I was a player, I'd be looking a bit at Arteta, but I'll be looking at the regime because I'd be literally, if I'm obviously not if I'm Lewis Kelly, but if I'm Saliba, Rice, Declan Rice, Gabriel, guys that have been about, if we're talking about the injuries, yeah, and we're seeing our team fall to pieces throughout last season, what the hell are the players saying? Because if we think Saka's good, for example, like we all watch Saka, we know he's cold. What do you think the players who train with him week in, week out, see him in training think? How do you think they feel? And I think they've, despite all of that, whether their form's been there or not, injuries or not, I think everybody's put on their big boy pants and tried. And I feel in January, you're asking your employers for some fucking help, and it was not forthcoming. This is just my opinion. And I've got criticism for how Arteta's going to buy it. I think you wanted to spend money, even though you fucked up peas. I think the club, whoever runs stuff just slightly above Arteta and is you know, the Cronkies and just below. You lot knew you was getting top four. You knew, all right, we're not catching Liverpool. We could get drawn into a top four race, but we're in that weird scenario where we're not better than Liverpool. They're running away. We're probably better than those below us. We've showed in the last 2 years we could finish second. We banked on that. If we could do a thing in the champs, we could do a thing in the champs. And in that regards, against Real Madrid and to get to a semi-final was a movie. But in the grand scheme of things, look at what's happened. Not one, again, the players are not fully not to blame, but when it's all said and done, if you put the players here, Mikel Arteta here, and all the decision makers here, I've got less energy for the players. I've got a lot of energy for you, Mikel Arteta. I'll forever have energy for the Cronkies. And it's been a mess, because then I would love to be a fly on the wall. I would love to see what happened last summer, because I think it's a mixture. I think Arteta's fucked up here. Edu's done other stuff. Cronky's done other stuff, trying to sell and go. Edu's trying to bust out. Jason Ito scheming on some power. Like, Edu knew he was cutting, so that kind of messed things up. It's been weird, and it doesn't surprise me that there is an element of change required. We need to replenish the squad, and it is a rebuild. No, it's not even a rebuild, but like the process thing is done now. It's got you consistent top four. To go to the next level, you know what needs to be addressed, but there's several question marks around several players, and we're learning more things about that every day. And obviously, some people sign new deals. There's changes on the coaching front. Cuesta's gone, Bert has come in, Edu's left. Show me something, and because the next thing, the owners are not going anywhere. Manager, you're not to blame for everything, but this is going to be the 4th year. Now, at some point, that conversation has to happen, and I understand it. Whether you're positive or negative about the man, Mikel Arteta, you've got us to second. Whatever's gone well, gone right, we've got more things right than whatever. We're at this point now. How do we get over the line? Are you the man to get over the line? I hope you are, but every year you don't. The questions get bigger. Yes, you're a good manager. You've shown good tactics, all of these things. You've answered those questions. Are you a winner? Because you've taken us to this point. We wouldn't be getting praised for the defending and the set pieces. And even though all we do, people, is bitch about goals, we're scoring 100 odd goals. We're doing, from a coaching aspect and a competitive aspect, we're actually decent. But that's all fine and dandy. Get over the line, because this is one of the best, pound for pound. You look through a lot of our squads during the Emirates era. Of course, there's been many better individuals than a lot of these players in the team. But collectively, a group of players, in the last 3 years, we've had a better squad than we have. And for the majority, probably the last 3 years, give or take, with the squad, not individual quality, but with the squad, this probably be the best of the Emirates era. Nobody's talking to Santi, to Ozil for natural ability, to Alexis Sanchez, to Cesc, to Nasri, and all of them. But collectively, there was a time we would have bit your arm off for just one of Gabriel. We would have put up with having a back five, including the goalie, of Mustafi level quality players. If we had a one Gabriel, one Timber, one Saliba, even a young Lewis Skelly, etc., etc. Now we got all of them. And we've not seized our moment. The past is the past. The future brings uncertainty. We've not seized our moment. Liverpool, I don't think so, but they could fall off a cliff. Such is life in football. Slot could get sacked next year. But he won a Premier League trophy.